Hello, this is an overview of my code for week 2. The first step in creating our fruit form is to create a connection to the database. So we first store the database connection information in a variable. It holds all the information we need to connect to the database, such as the username and password, where to find the database, what its name is, and what port it's listening on. Next we make two if statements, one that checks that post is being used for our requests, and that the other is to check that if the user clicked the submit button. If both pass, then we store the information from the form into fruit name and fruit color variables. We then create an insert statement to insert the new fruit into our database and store that in a variable. We then bind the parameters to make the connection between our statement and our form variables. Finally, we execute the statement and the fruit is added to the database. Next we have our form. There's nothing special about it, it's just a basic input with two fields and a submit button. When the user presses submit, it calls fruits.php and then it looks at the PHP code to figure out what to do when submit is pressed. Below the form we have a table with headers already added. We'll add the rest of the table rows with PHP. And with that, that's how we display all of the fruits in our database. So to do that, we create a select statement to get all fruit entries from the table. We execute the command and then store the results in a variable using fetch all. Within fetch all, we tell it to store the data as an associative array. We then use a for each loop to loop through the results from fetch all and create a table row with all of the fruit data for each entry. At the end of the table row, we also insert a link with an ID of the specific fruit to delete that fruit from the database. When the user clicks delete, our deletefruit.php file is called. Within our deletefruit PHP file, we first have to make a connection to the database again, since it's in a separate file. Then we use get to get the ID from the link that the user had just clicked. We then create a delete statement for that particular ID, bind the parameter, and then execute the command. From there, the fruit is actually deleted from the database, and then we reload the page using header so that we can update the table data and display what's currently in the database.